Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ginger Broderick, and I'm the host of the GingerNewYork TV Show. It is Friday, November 16th, and we're right before Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving, early Thanksgiving. I hope you all get to visit some friends and family to make sure that you have some good food. I had my first Thanksgiving cooking lesson this week, so I actually have some side dishes to take to my friend's house. So I'm very excited about that. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in today. We're live every Friday afternoon at 2 p.m. We're here at Manhattan Neighborhood Network on West 59th Street in New York City. And we also air on the World Wide Web. So I want to give a shout out for my parents who watch, my brother Mike, my aunt Charlene in Texas, and some friends from around the world. So thank you so much for coming in. And I have a favorite guest. He's an amazing artist, producer, drummer, and you know I love my drummers. So I have another one in today, and his name is Courtney Williams, AKA C-Will.
Hi,
Hey,
Ginger, how are you?
Welcome.
All right.
How is traffic coming in today?
Well, you go to First Avenue, and then you travel to First Avenue and a half, and then First Avenue and 3/4, and then you still ain't getting anywhere. So that's New York City traffic.
Oh, yeah, right? And the afternoon traffic. Yeah,
exactly.
well, glad that you got here.
Exactly. I am too. I'm glad to be in your show, for sure.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Sure, for sure.
Yeah, we taped a show about a year ago, I think at the Gibson Guitar Showroom.
That's
and so
right.
bringing you
That's
back
right.
here for a live show, because you got a lot of things going on.
That's right.
Starting
I sure
in
do.
December.
I sure do. I'm doing a project called the Empire Event, and it starts in December, 6 shows, and also a New Year's Eve show included in that.
Oh, wow.
And it goes for 2 years. It's going to be in Chelsea.
Oh, 2 years, because I saw an announcement that you have a couple of dates in December.
Right.
But I only saw 2 dates, and you just mentioned 6.
Yeah, I'm December 21st, December 22nd.
Yeah.
Then again, December 27th, 28th, 29th.
Okay.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Then New Year's Eve.
All at the same place in Chelsea? And what
Yes.
place is that?
It is SIR Studios, Studio 2 or 3.
Oh, wow.
So
Audience members are welcome, correct?
yes, of course,
Okay,
of
I'm not
course,
familiar
and it's a
with it.
ticketed event. So
Okay.
you have to go online and get your tickets, and
Okay.
you know it's online.
Wonderful.
I have a couple of sites that it's on. The first site that you can go to is Eventbrite. So it's the Empire Event. .eventbrite.com, and the other site that you can see it at is www.theempireevent.wix.com, the Empire Event.
Wonderful.
So those are the sites, and my main site is www.cwill1.com.
Yep.
So cwill1.com, the number 1.
So we can all, through all those different avenues, find how to get a ticket for
That's
those
it.
shows.
That's it.
And
That's
that's
it.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, tell me, how did you get started in the music profession?
I'm a drummer first.
Since the age of?
Since the age of actually 7.
Yeah.
You know, 7 actively. 7 actively. My first recording was between the ages of 8 and 9.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
You must have been drumming when you were like 3 years old.
Well, the story
Instead of the pots and pans, you were at the
you know,
drums.
it's funny you say that, because the story goes, my mother she kept giving me, you know, like things to like do my pastime, you know, toys or whatever, and I would push the toys aside and just like find a long anything and just beat. So she was like, okay, all right, well, as long as that keeps them busy, let's put them over there. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. So that developed into, you know, a drumming career. And like I said, between 8 and 9, I recorded. By the time I was 12 or 13, I was traveling.
Who saw your talent at such a young age? Or were you taking lessons, I guess? Or was it just natural?
No, I was
listening to
playing
music?
naturally, listening to music. I have 4 brothers. Excuse me, I have 3 brothers. I have 3 brothers, and my oldest brother was always into music. So I would go to the attic and listen to his, you know, records. And I had another brother who listened to jazz and another brother who listened to rock. And my brother who listened to rock was into stage, lighting, developing, and all of this.
That's how it is.
So it was exciting.
Oh, yes.
To grow up around that. And nobody in my family played an instrument, but you know, I was the one. And then I have a sister too who was into gospel music.
Okay, as a singer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would always go into her room and look at her sing and, you know, listen to gospel music. Then I became a gospel drummer at my church and other churches too. And so this was what I did for about maybe my first pre-teen years, you know. And I also did a recording with a group called Run DMC.
Yeah, that's a big game.
Yeah,
big name, boy.
yeah. And I worked with Aerosmith with that too.
Wow.
They were in the studio, and it was an exciting time.
Really,
you know,
yes.
Really
and,
exciting time.
And how old were you? You weren't even 18 at that point.
No, I had just moved into Hollis, so I was like 12,
Oh, wow.
12 or 13, and I recorded. And
it's amazing they allowed you around at such a young age, or that your
Sure.
mom let you out of her sight.
Exactly. Well, Mom would definitely follow me, Mom and Dad, because it was hard for me to get out of school, you know, because of the traveling and everything in my teenage years. So it was hard to, you know, but I did. You know, I did both things, because back then you didn't have what they have now. Now you have tutors and technology and all of this stuff. But yeah, I went through my preteens and my teens with gospel music. Jazz was a big thing. My first teacher I had at 14, Hassan Hakim, Honorable Hassan Hakim, I should say, and that's Omar Hakim's father. He passed away, but you know, definitely never forgotten. You know, but he, and along with another drummer named Camille, was the start of my whole meeting everybody on the scene and going into the city, going back and forth. And my first place I ever played was the Blue Note in Manhattan. I was about 15 or 16 when I snuck in there. And they were like, hey, how old are you? And, you know, and they was like, oh, go ahead, whatever. It adds to the whatever.
Yeah,
you know?
I've heard some child actors, so they go through the back door,
exactly,
and they're like,
exactly.
I was performing here when I was 12, and now I can't get in.
I snuck in, you know, and then I had another friend who was a piano player. He's great right now. He's doing his projects, Mark Adams. He was like, man, come into the city. You got to get into the city. You got to go there. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
And so there I was, you know, going back and forth. And this led to my touring stage started at like 17, 18. I started with a group called Color Me Bad, the MTV's first tour. I can actually say that. I don't know if I should say that. I don't
How old was I? I must have been 5 or 6, I think. You know?
MTV's first, but it was great. It was Color Me Bad, CNC Music Factory, Belle Biv DeVoe. Then we went from there to Paula Abdul. We opened up for Paula Abdul.
Good for you.
Then we headlined. By this time I was 20 or 21. And I was on that, basically I was with that group for 3 years. It was a 3-year tour. I came off, I knew about now how to stay out there like that. So I went again with a group called All for One that's still together now. And I toured along, while I was doing the pop tour, I was also doing jazz. So I was touring with Kenny Garrett, Mulgrew Miller, and another female jazz artist named Lizette Wilson. So I was going back and forth and
Really busy.
doing all of that, and that lasted for 10 years. This was a 10-year run.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Now, who was booking you during that time? Or because you're a producer now.
Right. Producer, artist, performer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have your own company that's a entertainment company that probably does all the booking now too.
Sure. May We Entertainment is myself and 3 other partners. You know, great. It's a French-American company actually, so it's great to spin off of other people's creativity, and they're very creative. Not only in the music and everything, but they also deal with real estate and computer graphics and contracting and all of this stuff. So it's great to always have ideas from them, you know. But May We started in 2001. That's when the company started, and it's been a great run. My first album was recorded, which was a jazz album.
What's the name of that?
It's Storyteller. My first album was called Storyteller. I named it after my grandmother. You know, I have a song dedicated, the soundtrack song Storyteller is dedicated to my mother. And it's an instrumental album, but I also have a famous singer, Melanie Daniels. She's a gospel singer, but she was always the first call for Michael Jackson, Mariah Carey, all of that. So I wrote a song on the album, and she sang this song that I wrote. She was the only vocalist on the album.
Wow.
And it got accepted by DMX Music. I got a call from Irvin Azard, a really big person in music, mogul in music, and he congratulated me because they were going to take me and actually experiment with me and the album. I told them to choose whatever song they wanted, and they chose the most fusion jazz song to become the recording. DMX took my album, and I was on Cablevision. I was on over 77 international airlines for in-flight entertainment.
Good for you.
And also, I was on internet radio. So I would be the first and the last artist they would do this with, but because they did that, my album went #1 for 2 months.
Good for you.
So it was
exciting.
great.
And
Yeah.
you've been on a lot of TV shows. You
Sure.
played at the Grammys as
Sure.
well. These are
I
great
did,
things.
yeah.
These are great experiences. to have.
Exactly. While I was a drummer, I played for different groups and everything, and also in my music artist life, I did like a lot of late night show. Some of the shows are not even around no more. One of my emblem shows I kept repeating was Arsenio Hall.
Oh yeah.
But it was great. I mean, having that experience at nighttime and the traveling back and forth. We also did a lot of charity stuff, and one of the charity things that we did was a charity organization called Stamina, which was protection of the rainforest everywhere. So that was always a big event. It was once a year, and it was a great experience experiencing that.
Wow, that's wonderful. And you have this upcoming tour, right? That starts in December.
Right.
Where do you go from there? From New York City, where do you go?
Well, it's a tour in that I'm really trying to get the word out for the event. So because the event is going to be running for 2 years, it's going to be central in New York, in Chelsea, like we said.
Is this a one-person show?
It is.
Oh.
I'm doing a one-man. This is
How do
very
you
interesting.
do?
This is very interesting because I'm actually performing, but
It's almost like a theater, too.
right. It's very theatrical. You have your lighting, you have your sound, you have the stage and all of this stuff. And it's Ginger, the most interesting thing is only 50 people that can come per show.
Oh, wow.
So it's I want it to be personable. I want it to be small on purpose because I want to be more in touch with my audience. And it's a little slower process, but that's why it's a 2-year process because it's over a long time span. So
It's almost like an off-Broadway type of thing. Or
it's
off-opera.
exactly
What was it?
exactly the idea. The people come in, they get pampered. I have a whole lot of things going on for them. Food and drink, a variety of food.
I want to go.
I can't wait to see you there. I can't wait to see you there. You're going to be a great guest there. And
No, I'll buy my ticket.
All right.
I'm really good about supporting artists. I'll buy my ticket.
And I know that about you. I know that about the audience. She is definitely a supporting artist. Believe me, she supports. So definitely we're gonna, it's this theatric type of thing, And when the audience member comes in, you have a variety of food, drink, like we said, and also you get massages included.
Wow.
You also have, like a fun thing that you can take away, which is caricature drawing of you.
Okay.
You have body paint, just like the arm or the hand. You can take that away too, face or neck. And then we get into some other surprises that I want to keep.
Oh, come on. We're breaking news here, too. Inside scoop.
For the audience.
I won't tell anybody.
Only 2 billion people.
Right, that's right. That's about who's watching. 2 million.
All right. Yeah. But it's about 2 hours and a half or close to 3 hours. And then, you're in and you're out, but you take away this memory of everything.
Now, are you singing, performing, or are you more acting?
I'm singing and performing, and there's parts where I actually come out in front, and sing too.
Very interactive?
Very interactive to the audience. And like I said, we keep it small so that we can really target and personalize, this whole experience.
And
with
what's the
everybody.
planning process for something like this? How long have you been working
Wow,
on it?
I've been working on this project since I had the company. So this this project goes back to 2003, my first album. Because as an independent artist, and I'm glad you asked that question, as an independent artist, we've had to always hone something around us. So my biggest thing became, well, hey, I have an entertainment company, a record label. Why don't I hone around it this whole entire event? That way I can make a marketplace for myself and make a sale for myself.
Right.
Nobody's in between that.
Right, and that's the benefit.
And that's the benefit, because you want to have creative, you want your creativity to be able to exfoliate into the audience purely, not somebody in between that or somebody, you know, pushing that down. So
I was at an event, a John Legend concert, and India Ari opened him up this back in 2009, and she was crying throughout the show because management or someone in management or on the business side had upset her so much.
Wow.
And no one should do that, I think, to an artist. And that's what makes people strike out and have the creativity and the control.
Wow.
Someone told me he started his own record label, and he makes more money selling 20,000 copies than hundreds and hundreds of thousands through a larger company.
See?
Yeah.
You see? So.
And you have more control on the creativity now.
Of course, of course. So this is the thing. I mean, when we look at examples of, for me, I look at examples of bigger companies. Like you look at Richard Branson for Virgin. You look at Jay-Z, company CEOs or presidents of other things. Russell Simmons, you know, because I grew up with Russell, so watching that. And also just watching the movement of an independent person in the arts. You know.
Look at Madonna.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean,
you know.
this is all of those movements, all of those movements. So you take that, and then you say to yourself, where do I fit in this? Where do I fit for me, and how can I move and elevate up from one place to another? It's a slower movement.
Right.
It's much slower, and you know, there's that time in between where you're kind of pulling out your hair, if you have any, because I don't. But you know, you're kind of doing that. But it's beneficial when it all comes together.
Yeah.
It seems like, oh my God, why wasn't I doing this before? Like, why wasn't I thinking like this? But you know,
sometimes you have to go through that. I mean, I work with a lot of small businesses, so I identify that. And sometimes people have to get pushed up against the wall, you know, and they have to fall, and they have to rebuild. And
sure.
you know, it's a hard process. But you know, hindsight's 20/20.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
And it's the journey along the way, and the people that you meet, and you find out who to work with, who not to work with.
Exactly.
You know, you have more skills, you know, stuff like that. So yeah.
Wow.
Who influenced you to become an artist? Does it root back to your family, or did you have any outside influences?
The only outside influences I had was, I only had 2 teachers in my whole life. I mean, literally. And I use that because the teachers who taught me always taught me that I could teach myself, you know, by just observing. So I'm gonna start with them. Like I said before, Hassan Hakim was one, and I had a high school teacher. I didn't get accepted to music and art. I didn't get accepted to those schools. So I ended up going to a school in Queens called Andrew Jackson. And there I had a great teacher, Barry Downford, who was amazing. My school was amazing. A lot of people came out of that school, LL Cool J. There was a lot of...
I love LL.
Know, yeah, there was a lot of...
I saw him at David Letterman, and I had a one-liner for David Letterman, and he said, when we were passing the steps, LL Cool J, I still love you. He said, I did a really great job. I was like, yeah, I'm an accountant. I read one line. You know, he goes, no, you did a really great job.
I think he's another, you know, I'm definitely going to say this, he's another musical and business genius, this guy. He's very, very talented.
Yeah, I've been to a couple of his shows, and people are rocking.
Yeah. So just I'm going to say my influences were like in jazz. I had a lot of jazz influences. I looked at Miles Davis's career. I looked at Charlie Parker, this kind of thing. And then later on for commercial music, more commercial pop and rock, it was always the big groups for me because, you know, like Earth, Wind and Fire, Ohio Players, and Parliament Funkadelic, or Aerosmith, Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin. These were the groups that I was always, why? And why does it sound so great? And why does it, you know, and you're feeding into the production of people, you know, what they do and everything like that. So I'm going to say that those were my influences. Always the things that were super different and super I have a song that I wrote actually where I start off saying I'm eccentric in the curve, meaning always the stuff that was thinking out of the box and thinking and moving different. So that was always my thing. Even in touring, that's how I got placed in groups. I would always get placed at a time as a drummer where the producers or the management would say to me, you know this group in particular, you know that they da-da-da-da-da, and it would be something so out of something just different, completely. And it made me start thinking of me. I was like, I always get placed in these groups in this moment or this, this kind of thing. But yeah.
So I think drumming is a great bass skill.
It is.
To have.
It is. It's made my living. I definitely made a living from it. I was one of those musicians who was fortunate enough to make a living from it, and I have a drive. I'm not concerned about the things that don't happen to me. I'm more concerned about the things that do. That's my drive. So I focus on, there's hit and miss. There's more no's than yeses, but I'm more focused on, can I just get to the one yes? Can I get to that one, please? So that's my inspiration actually is my drive for staying here and being here.
Because I was wondering, do you do anything outside of the music industry? Do you have any other hobbies or skills? Like we have Andrew Richter on the set taking photographs. Do you do anything like that?
Sure. Outside of the music, one of my biggest pastimes is becoming more and more is cooking and painting.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
I had my first cooking lesson this week.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, we had an apple crisp that we were making and mixing with our hands.
All right.
And we were going to take it home, but I kept sampling it. And I didn't have anything left to take home. So I had all that brown sugar and apple and butter all mixed. And I was like, man, this is what it was like when I was making brownies back home for all my dad's friends.
But also, I think, I don't want to give away a big secret about Ginger, but, the new thing is yoga.
Oh, yes.
So, and we've talked back and forth about that, the whole yoga experience and the hot yoga experience and everything like that. So I've been fortunate enough to get into that. That's been calming down my nerves.
Yes. It's so helpful. It takes a lot out of you. You do the Bikram or the hot yoga?
Bikram, Bikram too. And it's when you do it, when you come out, there's times when I come out of that and I just look at everybody else and I go, I know a secret. Like, this is the secret to being.
Yeah. It cleanses my life. It cleanses me. It cleanses my body. I'm actually on a raw foods diet. Yeah,
wow.
As a result of my influence of working with, Bikram yoga and the teachers there.
Okay, how does that work
Well,
out?
you eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. It's a lot of non-animal products, so you have to make, once in a while I cheat, but the thing is that you really have to drink a green smoothie like every day, which is, juicing your vegetables. You just really want to get power nutrients.
Sure.
And then what helps the appetite during the day is dried greens and adding that into water. So you're drinking that with your water, and that substitutes coffee and tea and all those soda pop, those kind of things. And like last night I went to an Italian event and there was a lot of pasta. And my stomach just blew up. I cheated on my raw foods diet.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing about eating like that. Once you come out of that, but that's good because it keeps you. It also lets you know what we're eating. I mean, we are a big city. America doesn't have exactly the thumbs up for best diet in the past, I'll say. In the past, now we're becoming more farm conscious and whole foods. And so, but these are my other hobbies, those three. I would say painting, cooking, and dealing with the whole zen of just being relaxed and everything.
And then how are you learning painting? Is it just freestyle?
It's just freestyle now. You talk to any painting artist or any artist, they always just say, take a pencil, just draw what you see, just keep it, just keep it going, just don't stop, So the painting has led to a couple of paintings that I have at home.
Good for you.
Do you
watercolor or you actual paint?
I do anything I can get my hands on, because it's like okay, it's watercolors now, right? Okay, I got it. Or it's sketching, or it's oil and canvas, really? Okay, how do I do? And you know, so I'm always.
But that's the artist in you, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people think that, you know, people aren't concentrated in going in one direction, but when you're a busy mind and when you're talented and you're creative, you want to explore all these different things, you know?
Exactly.
I mean, I grew up loving so many different kinds of music, and I was like, what's wrong with me?
Right.
But it's not wrong.
Nothing is wrong.
Nothing's wrong with it.
Right.
And then when I hear of an artist that plays all different kinds of music, I was like, wow, it's just not one structured type.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm going to say something about you, because I did my little research on you.
Oh, no.
This week, actually, as I was putting all of my craziness together.
Well, you found out I'm a tax accountant.
That, and I had a very interesting quote about you by our friend, actually, Michael Powers.
Oh,
you know,
Michael.
I mentioned, you know, Ginger, and right away he you know, he shook his head, he smiled, he said, Ginger is definitely a class act. That's it.
Thank you, Michael. Wow, that's really, well, I hang out at Terra Blues.
Okay,
and his wife Topsy helps booking for my show.
All right.
I'm at Terra Blues probably once or twice a month.
Wow.
On Friday nights.
All
That's
right.
my favorite night, Michael Powers. Yeah.
All right, see, I learned something.
Yeah, and Richard Lee, the manager from Terra Blues, has been here, and there'll be a couple of other artists that perform regularly at Terra Blues will be upcoming guests.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's really nice. You never said that.
Yay! Yep.
Oh.
So I was holding it. Wow.
I was like, what did I do? What did I say?
Yeah. So you never know who's watching.
Yeah.
You never know who's watching.
Yeah.
You see that? And Ginger has a lot of people watching her. Believe me, everybody. She has a lot of people. Trust me. Trust me.
Good thing we have a photographer here. Andrew,
Yay!
thank you so much, Andrew.
All right.
Andrew, he's shaking his head. He makes me look good in those photos. It's not just me.
Definitely.
Hey, we got some music playing by our favorite artist. He's my Irish cousin. He's my adopted Irish cousin. Yeah, Dave Mullen.
Yeah, Dave.
Yeah, this
wow.
is his music.
All right.
Yeah.
Dave, wherever you are. What's up, brother? You know.
And he said, Ginger, just always make sure you tell everyone that I'm a very handsome man. Dave Mullen.